Yo, 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 what's going on, good people? It's your homie Herbman. And you back upside the head with another hot banger boogie. Hey, man, if you guys are new to the channel, you need to go ahead and hit that logo right at the bottom of your screen and hit that notification bell so that you never ever miss what the Herbman brings to the platforms on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and as well as Instagram, all right? So our topic today, man, we're going to be talking about love-based sex. I know people are talking about plant-based diets, but we're going to be talking about love-based sex, all right? In other words, we're talking about holistic sex, okay? Now, when we mention the word sex, we're not just talking about the physical attributes of sex, but we're also talking about the mental, the spiritual, the emotional connections that sex could allow us to be healthy and holistic in. And so when we say love-based, we're also not encouraging casual sex, and we're not talking about the pornographic type of stuff that we see on the rise in our nation, all right? So we're talking about specifically what that means. Everything to do with love, all right? It's love-based, meaning that it has a certain high level of care and emotion and attachment to it. And so I feel like this is what is lacking. We're not talking about this particular side of intimacy as we should be talking about. So what is love-based sex? Again, it could be known as holistic sex. And this is where you not only get the wholeness of the physical attributes of sex, but you also get the healing that comes with it. You also get the connection, all right? The emotional support, okay? You also get the mental clarity that comes also with love-based sex, okay? So we're not talking about, like I said, going out and getting different people because we think casual sex is just, you only really get one thing out of that, and that's kind of the physical release, but you never really get the emotional connection that you really want out of it. You never really get the communication that is and the healing that you may desire out of long-term situation. And we're not talking about the pornographic, although you can find a few good tips from that area. It's too vague and it's too fast. So what we want to kind of look at this as is fast foods, right, and plant-based foods, okay? Something that you got to cook slowly and takes a more loving approach to the body. And then we're talking about processed foods, okay? And so this right here, we're talking about love-based sex and processed sex, and we consider casual and pornographic to be processed. It gets straight to the point, fast food, okay? So it's fast paced. It's just about getting straight to the point and then you're out, okay? So this is an alternative. This is love-based sex, and what we mean by this is where you're able to get a high level of communication, a high level of focus, a high level of energy, and a high level of intimacy out of the sexual arena, okay? And you also do it with a sense of care, a sense of understanding, and a sense of what I like to call uniqueness, okay? And so this is going to be more of a slow-paced situation, all right? And this involves, when we say focus, we're talking about meditation between the two people, massaging, okay, between the two people, not necessarily going straight for the gusto, but taking our time, okay? And we're also talking about putting a little extra effort into it, right? So we want you to focus on pleasing the individual and not just yourself, okay? So this is love-based sex, when we set out a time for each other to connect and to communicate and to focus and to put particular amount of energy into doing a certain thing together, okay? So what this does is it alleviates a lot of the issues that we're having in the sex category. And when you talk to a bunch of women, they'll tell you, kind of three things that are going on. We because we're so culturally conditioned, we think that women don't have as high sex drives as men do. We think that women are not as sex focused as men are, but that is not necessarily true. I think that because of the cultural conditioning, we find it taboo to talk about the subject, or we find it also taboo to figure out how to satisfy our counterparts, when we're dealing with sex. So Three things that women are complaining about is one is low libido, okay, and a lot of that has to do again with the mental, okay, and the emotional state of the individual not getting what they need out of the sexual event, okay. When it's just physical, they may not be up to it. There may be several things that can cause low libido. It could be because of the low emotional connection. It could also be because of some health reasons, right? And the second one is pain, okay? Women feeling pain during intercourse, okay? That could also be because of some health issues that are going on, all right? And that can also be because men are not taking the time to figure out what may feel comfortable for the woman in these particular events, and so therefore they're complaining about the pain, okay? And also too, it could be because of like I say, ovaries gone, different health issues that cause the sensitivity in the tissue area or the organ area in that particular area that may be causing some discomfort, and therefore she may not necessarily be willing to engage in the event as often as the male. And then the third one can be what I like to say orgasmic, okay? Not really getting out of it what could possibly be happening inside of the event. And so you got low libido, you got pain, and you got no orgasms taking place. And a lot of this stuff can be dealt with if we take the time, if we understand what love-based sex, holistic sex really is. Then we can take a lot of that away. When we're talking about things like Tantra or the Taoism or Osho or all these different strategies and techniques or massaging that can kind of get a person into the mood without necessarily going straight for the gusto. We're talking about communication. Just sometimes saying the right words and touching the person the right way and kissing the person in the right spots can get that person from this particular level of wantonness to this particular level of wantonness. And sometimes you have to factor that in to the totality of what love-based sex really is. When you're just going straight for the gusto, a lot of times you don't want to talk. You just want to take off your clothes and do this, that, and the third. And so sometimes you enter into a situation where the woman is not necessarily prepared. And what I mean by not being prepared is she may still be in a state of dryness, okay? And a lot of times that is caused because you're rushing. Either the man is forcing the situation or the woman is overriding that particular part of the event. And so what happens is pain can be also attributed to dryness, okay? So what are some of the things that can get that area lubricated? And this is what we consider to be foreplay, right? Caring about what you're doing. Love-based sex, okay? Being in love with the individual, but still being able to, provide all of the sexual appetite that you're looking for within the relationship, but caring enough to communicate, okay? Caring enough to understand, caring enough to take your time, caring enough to take the time out and figure out what is satisfactory for the other individual involved in the event, can take away a lot of the stress that is on the individual, can heighten the sexual appetite and the libido of the individual, right? Okay, so these are some of the things that we can do, and this is why you really need to understand what holistic sex really is. It's not necessarily just physical, it's emotional. And like I said, it could be spiritual too, because you can meditate together. Sex is a seance, okay? It's a ritual between two people, and you can always confide in each other in the event, all right, and figure out what are your goals when going into the event. You can communicate during the event, and you can also communicate afterwards, okay? And the same with massaging, and the same with being an emotional support and just holding one another before, during, and after, okay? Never having a gap in between the connection between you two, okay? Foreplay starts as soon as you say hello to your woman, as soon as you wake up in the morning, okay? As soon as you look at it. Sex can start right then and there. It doesn't necessarily have to just be contingent upon intercourse. And so this is what love-based sex really is, and this is what is the lost art. This is what has been missing in our couples and our relationships, the art of communication. All right, and communication is not just talking. It could be felt, it could be touching, it could be body language, as we all know. And so this is why I call it love-based sex, okay? And when we're talking about pain, that's all in communication, knowing where positions are painful, what techniques that you can do to make it more comfortable for the individual. This comes in the communication. This comes in the understanding of what it entails to be on a love-based situation, okay? And then when we're talking about orgasm, this is also too, it comes with taking the time out, learning different techniques and different strategies, and learning how to get your energy up and your focus into the situation, so that you can, for men especially, you can last longer than you've been lasting, because you're putting all your energy into lasting, okay? Not just into getting yours, but to lasting. And so, we can talk all day about the different orgasmic things, when we're talking about the clitoral, or we're talking about the vaginal. But most women haven't been past first base on that. So most women only have experienced clitoral, but not the vaginal, not the deep-rooted release that a lot of us are looking for. And in these types of releases, you can get a lot of healing done. So now we go back to when we're talking about what are we trying to get out of the situation. Is it a baby? Is it growing our family? Or is it just simply connecting on a spiritual level? Or is it healing ourselves in the act? And you can get a lot of these things out of one particular act. You can get a baby, you can get the spiritual connection, and you can get some healing all at the same time, if you understand what you're going into this for, and if you have the understanding of what love-based sex really is, to where we're not just casually doing it with people we don't have any true interest in, and where we're not just trying to be all raunchy because of the pornographic nature of our beings, right? But we're actually going into it with strategy. We're actually going into it knowing and understanding what it can do as far as a physical, emotional, and spiritual state. And as far as mental clarity, a lot of us are stressed out. A lot of us have low energy, and love-based sex can heighten your energy level. It can heighten your focus level. It has a lot of different healing to it, where you can heal your kidneys, you can heal your digestive system, you can heal your reproductive systems, you can heal your heart. You can take the stress off the brain, and all these different things you can do through sex. But you have to understand that it's not just crazy sex. It's not just out there sex. It's not pornographic, and it's not casual, but it truly is holistic. It truly is love-based sex, and you can get a holistic healing, a holistic connection, one with nature, one with the being one with each other, all in one really special ritual, really special event that we're all here because of. And I don't think that we've taken the time to really realize what we can actually do with this thing that we've been given, other than reproducing, okay? Other than, being raunchy with it and abusing it. And we can use it for our own healing, our own uplifting, our own spiritual awareness. And we can get all of these things out of this one connection if we only know how to communicate more properly with one another, right? And we can't keep doing all of the little white lies, and even if you don't tell the truth about a situation, I still consider that to be a white lie, right? Because these lies are just like stains, and if you keep throwing a stain at a window, you'll keep staining it so much that you can't see each other, okay? And so what happens is we lose sight of who each other is. And so we spend a lot of time having to clean these things up and clean ourselves up. And love-based sex is not just needed one toward another, but you can also love on yourself, okay? You can tell yourself all the great things. You can communicate with yourself. You can focus on yourself. You can raise your own energy levels within yourself with key things that you need. You can get all of these things through self. And then if you can do love-based sex on self, right, then you can definitely do it with someone else. And so it's not just a thing of a couple, there's also an individual thing that you can get a hold of to learn how to love yourself religiously, you know, and love yourself to a highest height that you possibly can do it, so that when you do get coupled, you know exactly what is needed, you know exactly what you need to maintain, the type of level of love-based sex you need to maintain from a mental standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a physical standpoint, so that you can get to a spiritual standpoint the way you're walking on water, okay? And so all of these things could be done through love-based sex and holistically. So I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. If you want to know more about love-based sex and the holistic sex, please let me know and I can give you more pointers. Again, we're talking about tantric and Taoism and knowing about your energy, which is chi and Oshu, and all of these different techniques and strategies that are already out here. They tell you about sexual positions for healing. Also, too, that'll tell you about the importance of communication within a relationship. They could also tell you about putting your focus on in the event, living in the moment, so that you can always heighten your libido, keep your sexual appetite, your sexual drive up, so that you can stay lubricated, so that you can also maintain some virility or vitality as a man. You got to keep your mind focused on what you're doing, and also keep your energy, put all you have and all you got into the event, into each other, okay? Or being open to expose yourself and being vulnerable to one another are going to be very, very big key components in doing this. And so that's why you got to have some love, because you ain't going to open yourself up to just know anybody, right? And so you got to have that love-based sex, okay? And so what I suggest you guys do is research, find out a little more about holistic sex, love-based sex. If you got any questions, again, my name is Herbman. You already know how to get with me. Hashtag Ask Herbman on Instagram. You can also hit me up at Love Herbman on Twitter. Okay, so hey man, I love you guys, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Go tell somebody about love-based sex. And until next time, peace.